You heard it from somebody else's lips. We're going to talk about it just now, but Mike Bobo, offensive coordinator, changing of the guard at Georgia. Next, Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. He is Clint. I am Daniel. Today's episode brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel, where you can make every moment more. FanDuel Sportsbook, more on them in a moment. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being a first listener, an everydayer. Thanks for listening all the way to the end to the third segment. We appreciate all of you and are excited to be back another week talking about this Georgia football team, Georgia basketball team. We've got lots to cover. There's plenty of things going on. And I mean, Georgia over the weekend, I would say some interesting news started coming across everyone's timeline. All right. This is like a Friday news dump time.
That's exactly what it was. Yes.
But the dump that we're speaking of was like a bombshell coming down out of the clouds.
A little different.
Georgia fans. Mike Bobo, the most controversial figure in Georgia football by a wide margin. Okay. Rumored to be being relieved of duties, rumored to be stepping down, like voluntarily, rumored to having some sort of a health concern. There was a lot of speculation.
Lots.
And I don't know if you know about the day and age that we live in, Clint, but there's not a lot of fact checking that goes into before you post something. Maybe you might want to check and see if it's legitimate. Nope, we're just going to go ahead and post away. Yeah. And so that's what happened with this news. Sent Georgia fans obviously into an uproar. Many of them confused about where this news was coming from. Many of them excited because they've been praying that Mike Bobo would be terminated. Come to find out, Clint, probably seems as though there's nothing to it.
This is what's wild, Daniel. We come here. The news that we've been waiting for all offseason, we counted the top 4 changes that Georgia needed. Was one, an overhauled wide receiver room. We checked that off the list.
Got that.
Check. Then we said Stacey Searles is the first one that needs to be on the chopping block. Mm-hmm. We have not received.
Not going to get it.
At all.
Nope.
Number 3, we talked about an offensive line needing some infusion. We have a whole bunch of starters coming in. Don't know who the heck's going to start. Number 4 on the list was Mike Bobo being relieved of his duties, and we would rather have that order of things take place. We got number 1, 2, and 3 have been skipped, so we go down to 4. And is there leg to this rumor, Daniel? Can it get off the ground? Because so far, it's been refuted. Others have come out and said, absolutely not. Mike Bobo himself is on the recruiting trail right now as we speak, taking photos with Mountain of Men seniors, talking about the number 1 overall recruit, offensive tackle, taking pictures with him, visiting in. Kirby's hitting the trail. So, yeah, Georgia fans got excited by this needle moving, but now we're sitting in a limbo. We're in Mike Bobo purgatory. You thought Mike Bobo, offensive coordinator, was hell for you.
Sure.
And then you got to Mike Bobo purgatory.
What if I told you you could have all the confusion of not knowing which way is up or down, left or right, and still have Mike Bobo as your offensive coordinator? What if I gave you that option?
Well, it seems as though it's been gifted to us, and maybe that was the whole point. Maybe it's like you don't know what you have till it's gone, and it was better just to know who the heck was going to be offensive coordinator next year and go into that. Now, what is true, what is not true, no one knows definitively. I'm here to tell you, no one besides Kirby Smart knows definitively. And so to report on it seems a little weird to us, seems a little out of left field. Were there conversations? Maybe. Are there things going on? Did somebody within the organization think that was going to happen or should happen and talk to somebody? Yeah, I actually am not calling people flat out liars. That's not what I'm doing. Could somebody have said something? Sure. Guys, Kirby Smart has moved on swiftly before from people. Y'all remember Jimmy C, okay? 61st ranked offense, 2018. And he was unceremoniously removed from his seat at the table. Only to come back as a wide receiver coach. By the way, Jimmy C, 51 years old. Like, just good on you, Jimmy C. That South Florida air is doing him a whole lot of good.
Yeah, sure.
So we're trying to get that.
Yeah, listen, I think it's interesting that I do think it is interesting to note, and this is not me reporting anything, okay? But if Mike Bobo were stepping down, and if it were to be due to some not job-related performance, but some decision on his part or between him and his doctors or him and his family, whatever, if that were to be true, what was being reported as to be true,
Yep,
he would go out and recruit until the replacement was hired and in-house. He is a damn good dog.
he is.
And he does love Georgia and Kirby Smart. He would never do something that would harm the organization.
You mean the team that his son currently plays for?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
So I'm not saying that the rumors are true, like that the speculation, whatever, is true. It's being refuted by a lot of sources. None of those have quotes from Mike Bobo. None of those sources refuting the news have quotes from Mike Bobo or Kirby Smart or anyone within the Georgia football program.
So some may say that those refuting don't have as any evidence, just like those who are
just
claiming
like
it.
Those reporting it. Well,
Okay.
It's fascinating, the world that we live in. Okay.
Interesting.
There is truth out there. We don't currently know what it is. You and I both believe that Mike Bobo isn't going anywhere, that he's going to be the offensive coordinator at Georgia next year. All I'm trying to say is, if this speculation was true, he would still be out there on the recruiting trail right now until they hired his replacement and he actually stepped down. That would be what was happening, and that is what is happening. And so I don't know that the evidence points hard in favor of these rumors not being true. I haven't seen anything that's necessarily compelling to believe that these things are true. The issue is that I have no reason to believe that they are. I don't think Mike Bobo is stepping down. I don't think that he has health concerns. I don't think that there's legs to any of this. I think this is the wishful thinking of some Georgia nut job who is just trying to light a fire and start something. And, the internet would love for you to do that.
Oh, it's almost like people make an entire persona off of doing that, being a provocateur, and
that is a way to earn a living here in 2025. Yeah.
Look at me. It's like a leprechaun.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. Hey, we're going to come back. We're going to let you know, hey, if Mike Bobo was to move on, who would you like to have as offensive coordinator of your Georgia Bulldogs? But first, these. And these are, in fact, Prize Picks. Daniel, Prize Picks is fantastic. And this message is brought to you by Prize Picks. To get real money into sports action. 10 million members and billions in winning. Prize Picks has changed the game in daily fantasy sports. Whether it's playoffs or regular season, Prize Picks has made it easier than ever to win big while enjoying the football action. Now it's playoff time. There's no better way to get into the action with Prize Picks. This is how it works. You simply pick more or less on two players. And if your pick hits, guess what? You can go up to 1,000 times your cash. Yes, that's right. 1,000 times your money.
That's
just by making a few simple picks. For me, it's all about the hot takes this season. This week in Prize Picks, I'm looking at Lamar Jackson for more than 250 passing yards. Travis Kelce, more than 70 receiving yards. Perfect prediction to play. Plus, your pick 'em flex play, you can still double your money even if your pick doesn't hit. So, ready to run your game this football season? Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege. You get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 just for playing. Don't wait. Take the game to the next level with Prize Picks. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, Daniel. We talked about the Mike Bobo news. Who
Mm-hmm.
knows definitively, except, again, Kirby Smart. That is who knows definitively. Are both scenarios like there are out there in a possibility realm? Yep, they are. Probability is that Mike Bobo is coming back as offensive coordinator for Georgia. My guess before the offseason hit is get him a revamped wide receiver room when drops aren't there, get him an offensive line that's different, healthy running backs, get better than 14th in the SEC in rushing, wide receivers that can catch, and I don't know, quarterback. Look, Carson Beck, go do your thing. It did rub me the wrong way how he didn't hold a team. That is true. Like, we thought he was cerebral or kind of this like laissez-faire guy. It was clear as day he didn't hold a team. Okay, whatever his attitude was, I didn't like that. Still think he's a gifted player,
and I took that personally. Is what Clint's trying to say.
I'm trying to tell you, if you read between the lines, I took it personally. So
yeah, let's start here though, Clint. So I think the question that Georgia fans are believe that they know the answer to, but that I just want to drop a little wrench into the thinking, because you're going to find that I'm not going to necessarily disagree with you, Georgia fans, but the question that everybody assumes the answer to is yes, is Mike Bobo the problem with the Georgia offense? Now, let's ask the question before that. Is the Georgia offense a problem, Clint? Definitively, I think we can all agree, yes.
The defense last year, the underbelly, was soft. However,
soft.
The offense was a major liability.
How many times we go to halftime with less than double figures on the board, Clint? I mean,
all year.
All the times. All the times. That's what we did. Okay. Including in the biggest games of the year, including the Sugar Bowl. So, lots of problems with the Georgia offense. Is Mike Bobo the problem with the Georgia offense? That's where I think Georgia fans are jumping to the conclusion. Yes, of course he is. He's the offensive coordinator. The offense was a problem, and ergo, Mike Bobo is the problem. I think you and I would land somewhere on the yes and no space for that. Two things, Clint. Thing number one.
Yep.
Georgia didn't have any playmakers on this offense.
Zero. Dylan Bell is going to be a running back next year at Georgia instead of wide receiver, and he was our number one threat at wide receiver for a good chunk of the year.
Dylan Bell is the college football equivalent of a utility infielder, Clint.
Yes.
We had Jeff Blauser running routes for us. I am very old. There's not a single person listening that got that reference. We had a Swiss Army knife out there running routes for us. There were no playmakers.
No.
Ladd McConkey, Brock Bowers. The Georgia offense was very good with them. Not good at all with this crop of playmakers. The offensive line, you already mentioned it. 102nd nationally in rushing. That's a number that starts with a 100 to describe the Georgia rushing offense.
You don't need to ask how many teams in college football, when you get to that level, it's just abysmal.
By the way, they also gave up 25 sacks in 14 games, Clint. And so this offensive line struggled in various areas. That's Stacey Searles. Yep. That's a lack of talent and development along the offensive line. And then you had the Carson Beck turnover issues, the Carson Beck head case issues. Like, there were a lot of problems for this Georgia offense that didn't have anything to do with Mike Bobo. Now, I will be quick to jump to the other side of the fence, Clint, and defend the Mike Bobo haters.
Yeah.
By saying we have seen what an elite offensive coordinator looks like. And I think you and I can agree. Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs should be able to hire an elite offensive coordinator. We should not be settling for a pretty okay offensive coordinator. And
Correct.
you and I have seen what that looks like. I know the Ravens took a very tough L on Sunday night as we're recording this because Mark Andrews hates the football. I'm talking about Mark Andrews and Arian Smith might be the same person, Clint. Convergence. But Todd Monken and what he has done with the Baltimore offense, with Lamar Jackson, if you pay any attention to the NFL, you know why Todd Monken is a prime candidate to receive a head coaching NFL job. He's about to be hired as the head coach in the NFL because he's that gifted of an offensive mind. And we had him for 2 years. Mike Bobo ain't Todd Monken. And so if you're a Georgia fan and you're saying to yourself, we should not settle for this average offensive coordinator when we deserve an elite offensive coordinator, to go out and to find an elite offensive coordinator, I will actually jump all over the bus with you and say, I 100% agree, fire Mike Bobo. But if you're going to say Mike Bobo sucks,
sure,
that's where you lose me, because it's just patently false. It's just a not educated, dumb take. If you're going to say he's average and we deserve great, I'm on your side. Let's fire Mike Bobo.
Here's my problem with that, Daniel. I'm going to go ahead and just list off a couple of people identified by college football gods that everybody wants to say as the best offensive play callers in college football to begin the season this last year. Okay. This is what people said. Hey, the best ones. Lincoln Riley, number 1. How's USC doing, Daniel?
Terrible.
How's that?
They suck. So does Lincoln Riley.
And so does Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
Will Steen, Oregon, best play caller. Oregon, dogfight against Boise State. Dogfight in a couple big games. Gets blown out against Ohio State. Best play caller, Will Steen. Okay. You keep going on the list. Josh Heupel, best play caller in college football. One of the tops. Uh-oh. How did he do with Nico, who's not it, by the way, and won't be it, by the way? Did he overcome bad player development? How about this one? Bobby Petrino, Arkansas.
Pass.
Oh,
move on.
Okay. Alex Atkins, Florida State.
Oh, sorry. You said who?
Uh-huh.
You said
nope. I've listed. Look, y'all. Neil Brown, West Virginia. I can go on and on and on with people that identify the best play callers in college football, and you say, "Well, I want one of the best." I'm here to tell you the best play callers in college football. His name's Steve Sarkisian and Lane Kiffin. They're head coaches. Okay. Yeah. So if you want the best offensive coordinator, they're all head coaches right now. You're saying fire Kirby Smart.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, and there's some idiot out there that's probably saying that, but
I know there's some.
If you want an elite offensive mind, you're going to have to go fishing in the small school ponds
and find him and develop him and hope he hits.
And it's a risk, y'all. It's a risk.
Bobo is a known commodity.
I'll tell you who Georgia fans. I'll tell you who Georgia fans. I'm just going to name a name, Clint.
I know who they want, Daniel.
I'm going to name a name.
He named names.
You're telling me that Buster Faulkner's phone rings and it's Kirby Smart and he doesn't pick it up, Clint? Are you telling me he wouldn't pick it up?
This is why anybody that says I have the scoop, and the scoop is Buster said no to Georgia mainly because the fan base sucks. I know you have zero credibility. I instantaneously stop talking.
You ain't got no scoop.
You have no scoop and you don't know anything. Because Buster Faulkner is answering Kirby Smart and he is getting the pay bump and he's becoming OC.
He currently works at Georgia Tech.
How's that going? I know Brent Key.
He taking that phone call.
He taking that phone call. I'm telling you.
To me, that's the name that you look at. But again, Georgia fans, I'm here trying to tell you the grass is not always greener than what you got. I would love to see Mike Bobo in this year's offense where I feel like the playmakers are there. And hey, I'm telling you, I am ready to blame him if it all goes wrong.
Yes.
I'm ready.
100%. We will jump on it with you, but maybe different players will equal better production on the field. Otherwise, again, Todd
Weird how
Monken
that
is the
might
worst.
work. How, like how better players last year equaled better production than on the field than this year. Oh, that's interesting.
Well, that's wild, Daniel.
Hmm.
We're going to come back after this, talk a little bit more. But first, these. These are, in fact, FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win the first bet. That's $300 to keep the action going. FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and the variety of bets keeps every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Whether you're betting on your favorite teams or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. Visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, Daniel. The last segment we're going to end on today, man, we took a tough L. Mike White and these Dogs took a tough L on the road against Tennessee. It was bad. Then we thought, let's bounce back. We got the number one.
First of all, we were up by 1 at halftime. And we came out in the second half, kind of laid an egg in the second half. The game got away from us. But again, you saw, especially in the first half of that game, you saw that this team was right there. They belonged. They were in it. So, yes, the final box score, you look at it, it got ugly. Certainly the second half was nothing to get excited about. And then you follow that up, Auburn comes to town. And the first half. Nothing to get excited about.
No, but we come out after the second half, Daniel, and we showed our soul. This team rallied. This team evaporated the deficit. We hung in nice and tight, and we suffer another tough loss because, again, we are not saying, we will not say close losses are good. You won't ever hear us saying that because winning is the point. Okay? That's literally the point.
Yeah.
Tennessee fans.
Ask Mike White after the game about moral victories, and he just not having it, not buying it. Neither are we.
Neither are we. Daniel, I want to talk about, so we lose against Auburn, a couple of last minute looks, or last second look that just, what?
I hate everything.
Daniel, how?
College basketball is not for the faint of heart. I'll say that. If you're you're soft like the Georgia defense that you love so much, then maybe college basketball is not for you. And so I've been trying to get you on the bandwagon all year, but maybe you don't belong because it's not for the faint of heart. I will tell you that.
You didn't prepare the people. You didn't take them through boot camp and training, Daniel, in
the
order
bucket
to get them.
It's got to be attached to your person during a college basketball game. Like it's because the swings are wild. And you die 1,000 deaths watching a college basketball game, Clint.
I think that's what was, I remember against the Auburn game this last year for Georgia football, I had given up after the first quarter. And so I just sat there lifeless on the couch in silence. And I said with 5 minutes left, I blurted out, "Don't make me believe." And then, of course, they made me believe and broke my heart. With basketball, that cycle happens every 15 seconds. What I just described that takes an hour and a half to do in basketball is every 15 seconds. It's like a moth or some like insects. It's like a fruit fly's lifespan. That's what a Georgia football or basketball fan is like. You're born, you're excited, you hate life, you die. You're born, you're excited. This is just how it goes.
That's how it is.
So
Georgia basketball is still very good. Like that's the point. I think this team's learning how to win. They're fighting. They've got a long way to go. This is a tournament team. I think we saw this last week that this team's got a ways to go before they could be considered an elite team in college basketball. But I don't think any Georgia fans right now would be sad to fall a little bit short of elite in college basketball, right? I think the fear at this point, Clint, if you're a Georgia fan, if I could just voice the anxiety that lives within me, deep within me, it's become like a brother to me. And so
Nearer than a brother.
If I could just voice it, it would be to say you don't want some of these losses to begin to spiral and compound, and this team lose its confidence and start to have the wheels fall off to an extent. Because I don't think there's anyone who believes that the wins that we have are flukes, right? I don't think, and you can say what you will about Oklahoma. They haven't looked great as of late. Certainly not a ranked team right now. Kentucky, still really freaking good. Really good. Quite good and elite at basketball.
Yeah.
That win was not a fluky win.
Nope.
The St. John's win, a very good team, not a fluky win on a neutral court. Georgia's still like, they are legitimate. But a team, especially a young team, can lose its confidence. And in the SEC, Clint, this is the point. The games just stack up. We're going to play on the road against Arkansas, a team that does not have a win in the SEC, a team that just got beat by 20 points on the road at Missouri, a team that is insanely talented and coached by John Calipari. This is a team that can beat Georgia and can beat most teams in the SEC.
That's right.
And we're playing them at Arkansas. And all of a sudden, you slip up and you lose that game. Arkansas's first win in the conference. Okay, now you're 2-4 in the league. Oh, your next game's at Florida.
Oh no, one of the top teams in the nation, not just the SEC.
I'm here to tell you, that's an L, Georgia fans. That is an L.
Especially what I saw. I look, I know the game this last weekend, but that atmosphere at home, it's an L.
I don't want any part. I'll just be totally honest. I don't want any part of that Florida team.
Okay, then we're back at home. We got South Carolina, but again, like you're saying, it stacks up. Alabama.
You better win some like that. South Carolina at home. You had better win. Arkansas, even on the road, is like a.
It's close. Because then we get a couple games, LSU at home, Mississippi State at home, and then on the road to A&M. We got to win 3 of those games somewhere in there, Daniel, to maintain. Because you're right. Young team. I saw this with Asa for the first time. Asa turns around, tries to do a little skyhook thing. It hits nothing. In that game, that second just hit nothing. And I thought he needs to get in rhythm. His mind is off. We need to feed him the ball again and do it again. And sure enough, he got going down the road. But you're right. Basketball is, you get the yips and it goes badly. So we need a couple wins to stop the bleeding.
Can I just speak a balm to Georgia fans who are still listening now at the 28-minute mark?
Please do.
Because I genuinely believe that there are just a plurality of Georgia fans who do not know how college basketball works. Okay. And so part of the service of this podcast is to try to help explain how this whole thing works.
The more you know, people.
Georgia went 0-2 last week. Okay. The net ranking is the measurement that the NCAA selection committee, this is wild if you're a college football fan, the committee tells you how they make their decisions and then they show their work. Like, could you imagine your sport having a committee that did that?
Okay. I would like it if they did.
I would appreciate it. This is the metric that the NCAA selection committee uses, the net ranking. Georgia went 0-2 last week, Clint. Their net ranking went from 27th in the country to 26th in the country. It went up. They went 0-2. Because when you play two of the best teams in college basketball, that strength of schedule number through the roof, like that, like it's not a big deal to lose to Auburn by 2, even at home. Now, we want to win those games, but the metrics are still there for Georgia to be safely in this field as an NCAA tournament team. You've got to go get some of these wins. Arkansas, I mentioned, They are winless in the league right now. Their net ranking still 57th, which means on the road, that's still a quad 1 win for Georgia. Like, there are opportunities left and right for this Georgia team. You got to win some of these games. I think Mike White has the team to do it. We will see if they can get it done.
Good on. He's Daniel. I'm Clint. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And we will see you guys next time.
See ya.